Our topic is coaching in our life, as you know, you heard about it. And we will speak about coaching as a tool, and coaching as a tool that we can use in our life. So we have two goals. The first goal is to get to know more about coaching, of course, and the second goal is to practice our English. We connect to these goals, and I hope that our English after this will become maybe better and we can improve it while using some different tools. And in this workshop, this tool is coaching. And using this tool in English perhaps maybe will be better even for our minds, because when we use this tool using different language, we somehow pass some of our mind barriers. And this is interesting because that's what I noticed from my experience with my clients. And today maybe you will see how it works for you. We will start from one exercise. In this exercise you will need to write problems that appears in your life. So what problems do people usually have in their lives? And you need to make a list of these problems on this flowchart. And you can perfectly classify all of these questions and problems to these spheres. And that's how people always do it. They classify these problems. So this is problem in my work. This problem is connected to my life. This problem is connected to my family or friends, and so on. But all of these problems are connected. And if we speak that we have some problem in our life, maybe in family or with our friends, it means that we have the same kind of problem in our work and in our business. So it's like a hologram effect. So we are the same in every sphere. So we can say that we have the same problems.
Yes. And sometimes during coach session, a client can change the results.
Of course.
And maybe stop session.
What do you mean?
Stop.
Well, for what reason?
Just for he wants to stop it.
Okay, so it could happen also, yes, that's true. And this is also an indicator that there is some problems. So maybe we came to the barrier that our client don't want to discuss. Or maybe we are not so emotional, so not as good emotional mirror for our client as we had to be. And so when we speak about coaching as a pure coaching, it's really a dialogue with a certain result. So we can speak about anything with our client, but we can have even the result if we won't define it in the beginning. But this result cannot satisfy our client in the end of the coach session. So we need to achieve this satisfying result. And this result will be the result that the client wants. And this result that the client wants will be the result that we will define during the coach session. Maybe half of coach session will be the defining of the result. It also can be. But we have to make this result. Because coaching is also about the results. That's why. A tool for self-development. So when we use coaching, we develop ourselves and we develop our clients. So I think it's clear. Yeah? An art of solving problems. What do you think about it? Why art?
Мне очень понравилось, потому что, во-первых, я поняла, что я не так уж плоха в английском, я что-то понимаю, могу даже на этом говорить, а плюс еще полезная информация о том, что такое коучинг, и была возможность попробовать на себе многие инструменты и не просто познакомиться с этим методом, но еще применить это на себя, поэтому навыки английского потянула, узнала что-то про себя, узнала еще глубже, познакомилась с коучингом, и есть даже первые шаги, которые я намерена реализовать. Поэтому всем рекомендую, приходите.
Okay, yes, that's true. So closed or close-ended questions, they also called yes-no questions. And we will talk about questions in rising their efficiencies or in their efficiency growth. Alternative questions, what kind of questions are they?
With some variants of answer.
It contains the questions that contains some versions or options.
Okay. For example, do you want a cup of coffee or a cup of tea?
Yeah.
Do you want 2 spoons of sugar or 1 spoon of sugar? So these questions.
I want 3.
Okay. But it wasn't mentioned in my question.
Yes.
And the most effective, efficient questions are open questions. They also called open-ended questions, and they also called what questions? Comparing the open questions and closed questions. Open questions, following answer after these questions are multiple, while when we ask closed questions, we already know the answer. When we ask open questions, we help people to think wider and deeper and go further. When we ask closed questions, we don't mean a person to go deeper or wider. When we ask open questions, they are headed to find a decision. And closed questions has only the answer yes or no, and they always has limits. So when we ask open questions, there are no limits, and person can give you a multiple number of answers. And they help to analyze and don't give the certain idea, while the closed questions always give the certain idea. And how do you think? Why open questions are more efficient than closed questions? And I want to ask you, what did you feel when you made every question more open?
Freedom.
Freedom, okay.
Like we have many ways.
Okay. So you have many ways and many decisions. Okay.
And the client has to ask it. Has to talk about his real situation, not answer just usual words like yes or no.
And I can also see, when I compare this groups of questions, I can also see more responsibility on the client's side. So it's not our responsibility to define the situation or to give the answer. It's the client's responsibility.
That's true.
Because if we use only closed question, we should talk a lot. Just after every yes or no, we should ask one more question, and just during session we talk, but not client.
We had a problem.
No one told us use open questions. No one told us if you will use open questions, you can come to a different kind of decisions and you can help other people. And I have another question. If we speak not about the situation with us and our clients, where else can we use this kind of questions?
Всем привет, меня зовут Надежда. Я хочу оставить отзыв о воркшопе Алексея Журавлева «Коучинг нашей жизни». Мне этот воркшоп очень понравился. Я могу с уверенностью сказать, что мы все достигли поставленных целей. Действительно, мы стали общаться на английском на те темы, о которых раньше мы не говорили. И более того, мы на коротком воркшопе проработали достаточно глубокие запросы, и каждый из нас вышел с новым каким-то инсайтом. Я всем вам рекомендую посетить это мероприятие. Спасибо.
I want to suggest you some of this tool and some of this order. I suggest you to try this exercise, and after this we will speak about what result have you achieved using this tool. What do you need to do? First, you should ask a person to imagine that a year passed from this moment and you spent this year at its best. So it was the best year of all. As much positive and efficient as it could be. How do you understand that this year passed at its best? Tell me, how do you feel after this exercise?
Outstanding.
Outstanding.
Really great.
Why outstanding?
You know, we've made a photo of this slide because the questions are very interesting and they provoke you to not to dream, but maybe to plan or to create the image of the future you want, and it's moving you forward. Yeah, that's the feeling I have.
Okay, thank you. Mandy, what do you feel?
Now I have clear structure of some events which I had during this year.
I want you to answer more questions, but for yourself. What important I've just understood after this exercise, after making my goals more specific? What important I just understood? What is the most important thing? In all of these points, in all of this list, what is the most important? What will I do first to make my year this best? What will I do first? And when can I start to do it? Please write down your first step and the date and time of your first step.
Когда я приходил, я думал, что попрактикуюсь в английском и что-то полезное узнаю о коучинге. А на самом деле за какие-то 1,5 часа я не только узнал много нового и полезные инструменты узнал о коучинге, но еще и глубоко проработал свой запрос и получил абсолютно ценный и очень такой целостный результат. Еще раз большое спасибо и всем рекомендую посетить этот мастер-класс.